as well. So you see, there are so many emotions and they can be named, they have names. Now this is what we call as a mood meter. So if you look at, they range from unpleasant to pleasant, and they range from low energy to high energy. Some are in the red zone. That means these are the emotions which upset us very much. Some are in the green zone, which we are when we are happy, for example. And how do we compare these emotions? Let us look at bored and mellow. Now, when a person is bored, he has a little bit more energy, and that's why he has a little bit more energy as compared to when he is mellow. While bored is an unpleasant feeling, mellow is a pleasant feeling. So now, what we would like to do is to build your students' emotional vocabulary by giving them direct access to these words and feelings. We can create a word wall filled with feeling words, or hanging a poster in the room with feeling faces. So these are some of the posters that you can have it in your class. So it not just tells you when a person is calm, but it also tells you what can be done when a person is feeling calm. So a person can hang out with a friend, smell the fresh air, cozy up and relax. What can they do when they are feeling angry? They can count to 10, take deep breaths, walk, run, stomp feet, talk to somebody. When they feel embarrassed, laugh it off, learn from mistakes, and try not to dwell. So these are some of the posters that can be put up in the class. Now we all undergo or find these feelings. Now what do we do with these feelings? Well, we can express the emotion. So if we are sad, we can cry. And if we are excited or happy, we might laugh around. We also know that sometimes when we get very excited, we keep on jumping around. That's an expression of the emotion. Or you can suppress the emotion. That is, hold the emotion down, try to escape from the feelings, which actually is not good. Or the third thing that we can do is to transform the emotion. Now, how can we transform the emotion? We can do it by labeling. We put a label on the emotion. When we feel an emotion, we label it. We give it a name. We say, I am feeling annoyed. Or we can turn it into a metaphor. This emotion feels like a herd of elephants. Or we reframe it. We look at it something in a different light, something which can be horrible, but then we think that we turn it into how it can be made useful. We can make it important. And we also notice that there are two basic emotions. We have seen the different categories of emotions, but there are ultimately two basic emotions. One is fear-based, which includes anxiety, anger, control, sadness, depression, hurt, lonely, guilt, shame, etc. And love-based emotions are joy, happiness, caring, trust, compassion, truth, satisfaction, etc. Now we come to the most important emotion which we all feel, that is anger. And we would all like to control anger. Some of us get angry very quickly. Some of us are a little bit more patient and we get angry a little bit later. But anger is one emotion that we would all like to actually control. So now what happens when you get angry? I'm sure that you have all felt these emotions. The first thing that we realize when we are angry is the faster heartbeat. We feel a tightening in the stomach. We feel a tightening in the body. We start sweating. Our hands start shaking. Our body starts shaking. We grind our teeth. We hear a ringing in our ears. All these are manifestations of when we are angry. Now, anger can lead to a lot of things. If we bury our emotions and don't release them, then they can cause serious illnesses like cancer, arthritis, etc. Now, negative emotions such as fear, anxiety, negativity can cause chemical reactions in the body. When different chemicals are released, Now, the consequences of anger are damaged relationships, poor decisions, feelings of guilt, and ultimately, finally, when someone just walks out. That is the ultimate. So, how can we learn to cope with stress? Well, we can exercise, we have breathing techniques. I think we have all learned from our childhood. Our parents have always told us that when you're angry, count to 10, drink some water. So these are the techniques that how we can cope with stress. Now, why do we feel these emotions? Are emotions necessary? Yes, emotions are absolutely necessary. So there are 8 basic emotions and there is a purpose for each one. For example, there is anger to fight out, which is necessary to fight against problems. There is fear to protect us from danger. There is joy to remind us what's important. There is sadness to connect us with those we love. So these are the 8 basic emotions: anger, anticipation, joy, trust, fear, surprise, sadness, and disgust. And each one has a specific purpose. Now, here we have an acronym. RULER is an evidence-based approach for integrating social and emotional learning into schools, developed at the Yale Center of Emotional Intelligence. RULER applies hard science to the teaching of what have historically been called soft skills. RULER teaches the skills of emotional intelligence, those associated with recognizing, understanding, labeling, expressing, and regulating emotions. You will excuse me if my voice goes up and down. It's not because I'm feeling an emotion, but because I'm fasting and I cannot drink water. So, when we look at RULER, some of the questions that we can ask. So, in recognizing a particular emotion, we can ask, how are you feeling? And how do you know that you're feeling in that way? So how does your body look? When we are angry, our face looks flushed. Our mouth looks compressed. For understanding an emotion, I think somebody else is presenting. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
So when we need to understand the emotion, we should ask, why is a person feeling the same way? Why is a person feeling frustrated or disappointed?
Sorry, what happened to your presentation?
Ma'am, we can't see your PPTs, madam.
See, this is happening because somebody else has started presenting. Kindly don't touch the present now button. May I request you? Thank you. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I request you once again, please don't press the present now button because then you will override my presentation. Okay. Next we label the emotion. So what word describes how this character is feeling? So a person may feel angry, a person may feel frustrated. What are the other feeling words that you can think of? We saw in the mood meter that there are so many words. How many words do we actually use? We use only a few words. We don't use all the words, but it would be nice if we can recognize those and develop the vocabulary of those words. Next, we express. If you were this person, what would you be thinking about? How would this person act when he or she was feeling angry? For example, if you're angry, how will the person feel? The person may be very, very agitated. The person may speak loudly. The person may be, screaming at the top of their voice. That's how they're expressing the anger. Then, in regulating, do you think the character likes to feel it this way? Do we like ourselves when we are angry, when we are screaming with other people? We certainly don't. And later on, after our anger has calmed down, what we usually do is we feel embarrassed. That's why we got angry. Probably it was a very trivial thing. And why did we get angry? So these are some of the sample questions that we can understand to understand our emotions. Now, these are some steps to mindfully deal with difficult emotions. The first one is to turn towards your emotions with acceptance. So you accept the emotion. Once you're aware of the emotion that you're feeling, notice it where it is in your body. You may feel it as a stomach ache, you may feel it as a tightening of your throat, the pounding of your heart, or a tension somewhere. Now accept it that you're feeling this emotion. Sit with this anger, anxiety, guilt, sadness, or whatever emotion that you're feeling. Become aware of it and don't ignore it. If this is difficult, get up, walk out, and have a cup of coffee. The key here is to not push the emotion away. Bottling it up inside will only cause it to bubble up and explode later, resulting in more difficult emotions or even a complete emotional shutdown. Listen to your difficult emotion. These emotions are trying to help you wake up to what is going on before a major crisis occurs. The second step, identify and label the emotion. So don't say, I am angry. Say, this is anger or this is anxiety. In this way, you are acknowledging its presence while simultaneously empowering yourself to get detached from it. Step 3, accept your emotions. When you're feeling a certain emotion, don't deny it. Acknowledge and accept that the emotion is present. Whether it is anxiety, grief, sadness, or whatever you're experiencing in that moment. Through mindful acceptance, you can enhance difficult feelings with compassion, awareness, and an understanding towards yourself. Now, you should think of a friend who might be having a hard time. What would you say to them? Bring that scenario to what you would say to them in your mind's eye, and now say the same thing to yourself.
Ma'am, your voice is not clear.
Ma'am, I'm speaking the best I can. I'm not to blame. Say things hold these images and phrases within yourself with loving kindness and compassion. So the kindness that you extend to a friend of yours, extend to yourself as well, and become aware of what is going on within you. In this way, you will gain the power to calm and soothe yourself. You will soon come to realize that you are not your anger, fear, or grief. Instead, you will begin to experience these emotions in a more fleeting manner, like clouds that pass by in the sky. Step 4, realize the impermanence of your emotion. Every one of your emotions is impermanent. They are not there to stay forever. They arise and reside within you for a time and then disappear. It's easy to forget this when you are in the midst of dealing with difficult emotions. Allow yourself to witness and observe your emotions with kind attention and patience. So ask yourself, what and where is this feeling? Is it in my heart? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling frustrated? Am I getting a headache because of this? What do I need now? Do I need to drink some water? Do I need to drink some tea, coffee? Do I need to walk away from the situation? So ask these focused questions, and in responding in turn will go a long way in promoting empathy, compassion, and connection. Step 5, inquire and investigate. After you have calmed and soothed yourself from the impact of your emotions, take a moment to delve deeply and explore what happened. Ask again, what triggered me? What is causing me to feel this way? What is the discomfort I'm experiencing and where is it arising? Was it a result of my critical mind? Was I responsible for it? Or was it in reaction to something somebody else had said or did? And lastly, let go of the need to control your emotions. The key to mindfully dealing with your difficult emotions is to let go of your need to control them. Instead, be open to the outcome and what unfolds. Step outside of yourself and really listen to what the other person is feeling or saying. Only then will you truly gain an in-depth understanding of your emotions and the interactions surrounding them. With little children, it may become slightly difficult to process the feeling that they are feeling. So here is a feelings chart, wherein it ranges from 1 to 5. There are certain symbols which emojis, emoticons, which can help a child to identify how they are feeling and what they can do. So if they are feeling fine, that's great. Enjoy the feeling, have fun. If the feeling is number 3, that means that they have a problem. So what should they do about it? We have to teach them the solution as well. So what do we do? What can they do about it? So they can play with this squishy thing. Children usually have their own favorite toy. They can play with it. They can take 4 or 5 deep breaths, or they can let a teacher know that they have a problem. If it gets really worse and it is number 5, then they need some outside help. They definitely have to go and meet a behavioral counselor. They have to do some breathing exercises. So this chart can help little children tell us how they are feeling. I would like you all to watch a video here. Okay, now sometimes we are able to let go of small problems, but there are situations which make us feel very strong negative emotions. Now these are called triggers. So what are these triggers? What pushes my buttons? So these are some of the triggers. Some people get upset when they get angry, frustrated when they are told no. Hunger, cheating, being touched. People may not like being touched, or people may not like when some rumors or gossip are being spread about them, when they're feeling hurt, when they're getting scared. Children get very upset or they start having strong emotions when tests are there, being ignored, being left out, being bullied, being disconnected. So all these are the triggers, or these are the buttons which people which get pushed for people. So what do you have to teach your students? What can they do? Well, there are several things that they can do. Tell them to stop. Walk away and let it go. Wait and cool off. Talk it out with somebody. Go to another activity. So there are lots of things that children can do. They don't always have to react to anger with anger. Now we have to teach children coping strategies. That is the whole purpose of this session. So what are the different coping strategies that we can teach our children? And why should we do that? The benefits are very obvious. It builds confidence. It helps to manage emotions. That's what we want the children to learn. Helps manage stress. It improves their behaviors. And it helps work through challenges. So these are some of the benefits of teaching coping strategies to students. Excuse me. I think we have done this slide earlier. Now these are some of the coping tools that we can use in the classroom. I think this is a very nice one. I would like you to do this, please. Now you are all sitting in a room, I'm sure. So just take time off and write down 5 things you can see. 5 things you can see but cannot touch. Then write down 4 things that you can touch. Write 3 things that you can hear. Write 2 things that you can smell. And 1 thing that you can taste. Can you write that very, very quickly? So this is a strategy that you can teach your children. So if you find that somebody is, engaging in a very difficult, managing or battling with a difficult emotion, just ask them to do this. Or they can push the wall. Very simple, just push the wall. With as much strength as you can. So when the person is pushing the wall, they do it for 10 seconds and they have to pay attention to the breathing. Or they can do the dandelion breath. So with your hand in front of you, imagine you're holding a fluffy dandelion. Breathing in, filling your belly with air, breathe out and pretend that you're slowly blowing away the dandelion. We have some more scoping strategies. Wave breathing. Now cover your ears with your hands, take long, slow in breaths and out breaths, and imagine waves are rolling back and forth towards the shore. Or there's butterfly hug or follow the path breathing. So these are some of the coping tools, these are some coping strategies that we can teach our students in the class. So we dealt with in the first section about different emotions, how we can handle them, how we can teach our children to do it. Now we come to a very important aspect of dealing with emotions, that is emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is a set of emotional and social skills that collectively establish how well we perceive and express ourselves, develop and maintain social relationships, cope with challenges, and use emotional information in an effective and meaningful way. Emotional intelligence is a term coined by Peter Salovey and John D. Mayer and refers to the ability of exercising control over one's emotions. It is a trait that most people fail at implementing, yet it is one of the most important qualities of most successful people. It refers to empathy and selflessness. These two attributes can not only help you understand the perspectives of the people around you better, but they also stop you from holding things against others. This way, you have the liberty to exercise emotional control and get focused on the things that are really necessary. So basically, emotional intelligence is a predictor of success in life and work. Now, mental disorders are becoming increasingly prevalent in children and adolescents. The worst case scenario occurs when students as young as 4th and 5th graders are going through depression and anxiety. With emotional intelligence, students can identify what emotions tend to take a toll on them, from anger management to feeling of fear and doubt. All of these can be effectively handled to achieve lifelong goals without being distracted by anything. Moreover, once students have their life under control and are not seriously affected by their environmental restrictions and learn to work with their resources, students shall be better adapted to make the best of their current situation. So these are the advantages of emotional intelligence. It helps in improving decision making, increase personal well-being, increase team performance, etc. Now, of emotional and social intelligence leadership competency model developed by Daniel Goleman and Richard Boyzatzis. So it includes the 4 domains are self-awareness and self-management and social awareness and social skills. Awareness and self-management come under self. So this is all about ourselves, how we manage ourselves. And social awareness and social skills are the social aspects wherein we learn how to handle relationships. So we'll go over each one. First is self-awareness, which is considered to be the foundation of all the other components of emotional intelligence. Now, self-awareness means being aware of what you're feeling, being conscious of the emotions within yourself. People who are in touch with their emotions are better able to guide their own lives. Team members need to be in touch with their emotions to interact effectively and appreciate emotions in others. I think we are all aware that whenever we are feeling depressed, angry, frustrated, there is some kind of a predominant emotion in us. We find it very, very difficult to conduct a class in the normal way that we would like to. And our friends can ask, why something's wrong with you? Are you feeling angry? So we should also understand that these are the emotions that we have to be self-aware. And the people with high levels of self-awareness learn to trust their gut feelings and realize that these feelings can provide useful information about difficult decisions. Now, answers are not always clear regarding who is at fault when problems arise. So, in these situations, team members have to rely on their own feelings and intuition. Self-management is a second key component of emotional intelligence in managing emotions. Operationally, it means that team members need to be able to balance their own moods so that worry, anxiety, fear, or anger do not get in the way of what needs to be done. I always tell my teachers, when you are leaving home, you have to leave all your feelings, emotions at home, locked under your bed in a box, and you have to throw away the key. So when you're coming to school, you should be in your natural state of peacefulness and joy. Because otherwise, if you bring that baggage, it is going to interfere with your work at school. Those who can manage their emotions perform better because they're able to think clearly. Now, managing emotions does not mean suppressing or denying them, but understanding them and using that understanding to deal with situations productively. Being socially aware means that you understand how to react to different social situations and effectively modify your interactions with other people so that you can achieve the best results. This is very, very important because human beings are all social animals. Now we are all feeling the pinch of the lockdown because we are not able to meet and interact with our fellow workers, our team members whom we were used to. Yes, now of course we are with our families and we are interacting with them, learning to know them better. But human beings are not meant to be put under lockdown. You are reading stories of people going under depression, people who are staying alone for the past nearly 2 months, and how they are managing. So human beings are meant to have social interactions. It also means being aware of the world around you and how different environments influence people. Increasing social awareness means improving your skills to connect with others verbally, non-verbally, and also in the community. The final component of emotional intelligence is the ability to connect with others, build positive relationships, respond to emotions of others, and influence others on the team. Relationship management includes the identification, analysis, and management of relationships with people inside and outside your team as well as their development. It is also vital in negotiating successfully, resolving conflicts, and working with others towards a shared goal. Now, within each of those, we have become familiar with the 4 domains. That's self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Under each one, there are learned competencies based on the underlying ability that make people stand out. Now, these are skills that can be developed. There are 12 competencies. Self-awareness includes 3 competencies. You can read from the slide. It also includes accurate self-assessment, where you are able to give a realistic evaluation of your strengths and limitations. I will not go over each one. You can read these yourself. Self-management comprises of 5 competencies, which includes self-control, which means keeping disruptive emotions and impulses under control. It also includes adaptability, which is the flexibility in adapting to changing situations and overcoming obstacles. Next, we have social awareness, which includes the big word empathy. Empathy is the understanding of others and taking an active interest in their concerns. How many people are we empathic to others? I mean, if I were conducting a workshop and it was a smaller group, probably I would ask you in the scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself? We find that if we are being honest to ourselves, many of the people are not very empathetic. That means they do not understand others or take active interest in others. But as teachers, it is very important for us to be strongly empathetic to our students. We will see that later. Social awareness also includes organizational awareness, which is the ability to read the currents of organizational life and build decision networks and navigate politics. Politics at workplace. How often we know about it. Next, we come to relationship management, which comprises of 7 competencies, which includes visionary leadership, developing others, influence, change catalyst, conflict management, building bonds, teamwork and collaboration. Teamwork and collaboration, which is a promotion of cooperation and building of teams. So now let's see what is the difference between a person with low emotional intelligence and a person with high emotional intelligence. So a person with low emotional intelligence would be aggressive, bossy, confrontational, poor listener, passive, unresponsive, critical, picky, fussy. Whereas a person with high emotional intelligence would be assertive, decisive, warm, enthusiastic, patient, and all the other qualities that you see on this slide. A person who shows low EQ, emotional quotient or emotional intelligence, keeps on thinking questions or statements like this: if only I had a different job. How many times sometimes we end up thinking these things? No, if only I had been handsome or beautiful, if only I had good contacts, if only I had better friends. We are not willing to accept the realities. However, a person with high emotional quotient or emotional intelligence thinks like this: there is a time to be aggressive and a time to be passive, and he will base his reaction according to that. He knows that there's a time to wait and there's time to watch. There's a time to work and time for play. That you cannot mix play and work. So these are some of the characteristics of a person with high emotional intelligence. Now, why is emotional intelligence critical for teaching? I think the slide is very, very clear. Teaching is a constant interaction with human beings, the students, and each and everyone has their own set of emotions coming from different backgrounds, coming from different homes. On a day-to-day basis, everyone comes with their baggage. I cannot tell the children to leave their baggage at home like I can tell my teachers, but it would be nice if they have to be taught that they have to leave their baggage at home. But many a times children are not able to do that. It is now recognized that emotions serve as a powerful vehicle for enhancing or inhibiting learning. So it's very important that students have positive emotions so that it can enhance learning. Now, negative emotions can reduce working memory and hence affect the work that is at hand. Effective and successful teachers are mainly those who can handle negative feelings in a healthy manner. Now, what are some of the strategies to tackle emotional problems in the classroom? First, understand your strengths and weaknesses. So if you know that you get angry very quickly, well, it's very important that you practice breathing exercise when you step into the class and count to 3 before you react to any situation. Be on time for the classes. Don't be late. Be fair. Use and follow the guidelines that have been decided for the class. Keep evidence of classroom activities. Build a healthy relationship with your students. Now, some of the emotional intelligence and social emotional learning at school that we would like to, some of the emotions that we would like to cultivate in our classes are empathy, accountability, respect, and trust. Now, the role of emotional intelligence in education is we are aware of this, that psychological and physical well-being is very, very important. We do know that anxiety, depression, it suppresses the immune system and can lead to health issues. Emotional intelligence is very important for academic performance and later on at job performances. So it helps in mood regulation. It's necessary for controlling inner self. Now, feelings do matter at school. Now, school is generally the place for promotion and further teaching of emotional intelligence. Somehow it has not come in a big way in India, but I think CBSE is doing its bit to ensure that emotional intelligence is built up in the schools. It is very, very important to decrease violent behavior. It helps in fostering strong friendships and reducing disruptive behavior, which will lead to fewer discipline problems. So it's very important for us at school, in class management, in school management, to ensure that emotional intelligence is built amongst our students. I'm just repeating this, how to control emotions on top to accept that they are emotions that you're feeling, identify the reasons for these emotional outbursts, take a positive action to manage your emotions. You can counsel yourself, take control of your mind, practice forgiveness, and finally accept that you're feeling particular emotion before you start reacting. Now I want you to think for a little while. Do you apply empathy to your colleagues, students, bosses, and family members? I think it's very easy for us to be empathetic to our family members, but do we apply empathy to colleagues, students, boss? I leave this question with you. You can think about it. Now we come to the next part of our talk, that is mindfulness. Now, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is all about being aware. Many a times, mindfulness and meditation are mixed up. People think mindfulness is the same as meditation. However, there are subtle differences between the two. Now, you can practice mindfulness anytime, anywhere, with anyone, by just showing up and being fully engaged in the here and now. Now, I can say that you are all being very mindful of my presentation because all your mics are on the mute. Everybody is exceptionally quiet. Thank you very much for being so mindful. Now, mindfulness is the simple act of paying attention and noticing and being present in whatever that you are doing. Now, we have noticed this when we go about our daily lives, our minds start wandering from the actual activity that we are participating in to other thoughts or sensations. However, when you're mindful, you're actively involved in the activity with all your senses instead of allowing your mind to wander. Mindfulness can be practiced both informally, that is at any time or any place, or formally, which is seated meditation. Now, while meditation is usually practiced for a specific amount of time, mindfulness can be applied to any situation throughout the day. So what is the difference between meditation and mindfulness? Mindfulness and meditation have many similarities and can overlap, but the terms are not exactly interchangeable. So meditation typically refers to the formal seated meditation practice. There are so many types of meditation. So there is breath awareness meditation, loving kindness meditation, mantra-based meditation, visualization, and guided meditation. So it's an intentional practice where you focus inward to increase calm, concentration, and emotional balance. Our seated meditation usually begins with deep breathing in a comfortable position, bringing all your awareness to your breath, inhales and exhales, consciously guiding the mind towards an anchor or a single point of focus. That's what we do in meditation. We shut out all the senses, we sit in a comfortable position, and then we usually focus on the sound Om, or we shut out everything out. In meditation, you typically spend a focused chunk of time, anywhere from a minute to an hour or more, in which you are tuned inwards. However, mindfulness is the ability to stay focused on one's present experience with non-judgmental awareness. Now there's an activity for you. We have done this as a mindful exercise earlier, one of the coping strategies for controlling emotions. So this is what I would like you to do. Now you are sitting in a room, but have you really focused? Can you just focus on 5 things that you can see that you have not seen earlier, that you have not really seen, that you have not realized were there? Then you think of 4 things that you can touch. You can touch the door, you can touch the laptop, the desktop, maybe you can touch the switch, maybe you can touch the notebook, the pencil that you are holding in your hand. Now can you see, or can you think of 3 things that you can hear? What are 3 things that you can hear? I'm sure everybody can hear the AC or the fan. You can hear my voice. Maybe there is some other sound that is going on near you. Maybe a chirping of the bird. Did you pay attention to that earlier? You were so engrossed in listening to my presentation that you did not pay attention to these sounds that were around you. Now focus on 2 things that you can smell. Can you smell something? And think of 1 thing that you can taste. So anytime you complete a simple task, even a simple task like brushing your teeth or washing your dishes, tune into your 5 senses. What we did in the previous exercise was concentrate on our 5 senses: sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. And for each sense, name or two or 3. So we'll do another exercise. I'd like you to listen to this. So when you're brushing your teeth, we usually do it mindlessly. But when you are mindful about even you're brushing your teeth, you may notice certain things. The flavor of paste on your tongue, the smell of the paste coming in through your nostrils, the cooling sensation that the paste is bringing to your mouth, the way the toothbrush moves over your teeth and gums, the sound of bristles moving back and forth in your mouth. Then pay attention to your reflection in the bathroom mirror and the lighting in the bathroom, the tingling sensation of the paste on your gums and teeth. So what have we done? We have just focused on our 5 senses. And this practice will help us tune into our surroundings and increase our present moment awareness, which we usually do not do. So what is meditation? Meditation is concentration, setting aside time to do something, whereas mindfulness is awareness, being tuned into what's going on in and around us in the present. Now, what are the benefits of mindfulness? Now, if you would have noticed that if we give the same example of brushing our teeth, the minute we start focusing on the 5 senses, we will realize that we are slowing down. We are slowing down time. So we become more patient. Mindfulness teaches us to practice patience so that it comes naturally to us. Very, very important. Mindfulness helps us to recognize distracting thoughts or impulses and let them pass without indulging in it. So if a thought is allowed to pass through, it will not be the trigger for our emotion. Mindfulness broadens compassion for ourselves. It heightens the awareness of what the body is feeling when we get easily distracted. It helps us to reduce stress and anxiety. Now here, when we teach mindfulness to our children, this is a common example of in a school. A child accidentally stomps somebody else's foot. The other person's first reaction is to stamp the other person's foot back, and how long will this continue? And this escalates into a full fight. But with mindfulness, if the stimulus is there that a person's foot has been stomped, the person thinks for a little while, is patient, And response saying, please be careful. The person realizes that he has stomped and says sorry, and then the fight which would have resulted in it is stopped. Now, how can we practice mindfulness? You can read these. I just gave you one example already. So focus in the room that you are in, look around you, pay close attention to how the room looks, and describe what you see, which we did. Another technique is to close your eyes and take several breaths. Place your hand on your heart, pay attention to your heartbeat. Think about something that makes you happy. Smile. Can you feel your lips stretching? And do you feel your body relaxing? Mindfulness can actually be practiced by focusing on your breath. Close your eyes, inhale slowly through your nose, slowly exhale through your mouth. Pay attention to each breath that you take. These are some of the ways in which we can practice mindfulness. Now, how can we cultivate mindfulness in the classroom? So it's very, very important because mindfulness brings healthier classroom environments. It's teacher well-being, improved learning outcomes, and everywhere emotional intelligence is increased, everybody's physical health is improved, and mindfulness is not just a relaxation technique, it supports improved rest and renewal. Now, I'd like to give you one example. As a principal and my students, 12th grade students, we have practical examinations. We are not a center, so our students don't come to us for the board examinations. But when our 12th grade students are going for their practical examinations, I usually take an exercise with them. I go to the class, and what I usually see is that they're all revising, everybody is talking, everybody is quiet, somebody is talking just to ask and clarify their doubts. But everybody, I can feel the tension. The tension is palpable in the room. So what I ask them to do is, they ask them to stand up, take in deep breaths, shut out everything, the noises that they can hear, bring into focus their favorite deity, and then breathe, inhale and exhale and pray. It is cultivating or incorporating mindfulness to bring calm in the class. It helps, and all the children feel that they have become much more calm. So you can bring mindfulness through breath, through sensory experiences, in which I have given one example. Same, and we can also, when children are talking loudly or they are disturbed, I think we can all ask them to stand up and think of them a time when they are on the beach. Let them imagine it. Let them feel the sand curling in between their toes. Let them feel the waves coming and washing their feet. And then you will find that they become calm. So there are some ways that we can cultivate mindfulness in the students. So why should we use mindfulness in the classroom? So it helps in self-reflection. It helps in difficulties in the children. It can be used as a cooling down technique. It can also be used in everyday life outside the classroom. Mindfulness also helps teachers. So many a times, if we are feeling a little nervous about a new topic that we are teaching, probably, I think it would be nice if we can practice mindfulness. So before you enter the class, stand with your feet, relax your knees, bring your attention to a point in abdomen, and then breathe in deeply before you enter the class. Mindfulness also helps us to communicate more effectively with students. As I mentioned, that if we are able to control, if we are calm, we will be able to radiate that calm to our students as well. Now, every teacher will have a problem with particular students who misbehave in the classroom. So mindfulness with these children can help in elevating them. Now think about a student that you find challenging. Recall the last time he or she did something that made teaching difficult. What emotion did it elicit in you? Did you become angry? Did your fist clench? Did your heart start racing? Did you feel the blood surge into your head? So don't try to stop these feelings. Just sit with them. Just relax. Listen to the thoughts that are coming in. And the minute that you realize, and I remember I had already told you that you will not say that I am angry. You will say this is anger. You are detaching yourself with that feeling. And when you do that, that feeling will calm yourself. Now, there is a mistaken belief among many teachers that we can and must control our students' behavior. This sets up for power struggles where our attempts to control are likely to backfire. It's far better to create and maintain an effective learning environment by learning to control ourselves. We can control how we communicate, how we behave, and where we position our bodies in space. We can set and reinforce expectations and limits, and we can control the classroom physical space so that it supports learning. Now, effective classroom management points to importance of the student-teacher relationship. We do set up guidelines and limits, but if students do not trust us, then there are going to be challenges. So each teacher must aim to give mindful attention to each student. By making a connection, we let our students know that we value them as students. So we must try to make a mindful connection with each and every one of our students, and especially the ones whose behavior we are unhappy with. Because the goal of school is learning, we naturally tend to signal to the students that we value high academic achievement. However, if we see the student displaying other attributes such as helpfulness, friendliness, creativity, we must communicate that we value these features as well. Now, students feel the connection with the teachers when they know that their teachers are truly seeing them and appreciating them. This is very important. Practice wait time. We all know that students learn better and teachers teach better when we give ourselves time to think. So when you ask a question, give yourself a time of 3 seconds. Tell them that I will give you 3 seconds before I will ask or call upon people. So now each time you're doing a 3-second wait time, take a deep breath. Allow your awareness to broaden in the entire class. Scan each child and choose the one that you may not have called upon lately. May I request everyone to switch off their mics, please? Thank you. So please call upon that person whom you have not asked or whom you have not paid attention to recently. And if the student answers, listen mindfully and spend time complimenting them. Again, these are some mindful activities for children. So imagine you're a bubble. So as you breathe in, focus on being filled up, or just like a bubble is filled. And when you blow out your breath, feel your body relax, letting your thoughts about the past and the future float away. Mindful breathing, mindful journaling. I think you can ask the students to write down what they are feeling. Acknowledge and accept feelings. Answer the questions. How are you feeling right now? It's okay to feel whatever that way. Mindful sound observation. So hear the sounds that are there around you. How does your body feel when you are able to listen to those sounds? Create a gratitude list. Write down 10 things that the child is grateful for. So you can ask children to do all these things. Mindful body scan. Sit comfortably. Focus your head. How does your head feel? Move down to your neck. How does your neck feel? Shoulders, chest, stomach, legs. How do these areas are feeling? Nostrils, stop breathing. Gently press the outside of your left nostril. Take a deep breath in and out of your right nostril. Then cover the other other nostril as well. So these are some of the techniques that we can teach the children. It also helps to teach the children a different vocabulary, to camouflage and change what we are thinking and what we are saying. So instead of saying, I'm not good at this, the children should be taught to say, what am I missing? If they say, I give up, you have to teach them and tell them that you will use a different strategy. If they say it is too hard, then instead of saying it's too hard, you can say that this may take a little bit more time. If a child says, I made a mistake, teach him to say, mistakes help me learn. If plan A did not work, teach them that there'll always be plan B. So this will help in the growth of their mindset. Again, some more tips for children to practice mindfully. Creating a daily routine for children helps, so I think you can practice. Transition and activity works out very well for the primary children. So when you are indulging or moving from one session to the other session, have a little energizer, then create a routine for them. Share your experience of mindfulness and practice mindfulness yourself. Teach them to pay compliments to each other. Tell them to listen to a little music. Tell them to stretch. So now add mindfulness to every day in just 10 to 15 minutes. I think we can start the day with basic yoga, sun salutation, take a break, check your breathing, relax at the end of the day with guided meditation, and do a body scan, paying attention to any tension or stress. So with this, we come to the last slide, and this summarizes the whole thing. So with mindfulness training, the teacher develops mindfulness and self-compassion. It could be a teacher, it could be the student. They learn to cope and become resilient. And what is the outcome? The outcome is effective classroom management, emotionally supportive climate, and better teacher-student relationships. And what are the student outcomes? They feel belonging to the classroom, motivation to learn, and engagement in learning, and pro-social conduct. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
It's a wonderful session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.